All right, we're here at the John Show Inc. and I'm doing a review on my Schiit Mani 2 and the Yaqin tube preamp, phono preamp ms-23b RIAA. So I've had this Yaqin phono preamp for quite some time now, and I went through a number of tubes with it, tried different tubes. I right now I have the tongue sole in there, and I had the original Chinese tubes, which are basically a no-name brand. I've had them in there for many years. I've liked them. I've tried other tubes before them when I first got this unit, and excuse me, I I found that the Chinese tubes that the stock tubes that came with it actually sounded best. So I kept them in there and they sounded pretty good. Nice and bright and clean, warm. A little lacking in the bass, but that's okay because I have this 20 band EQ. Plus, I have this stereo receiver with the EQ if I need to even add more bass to it on my Pioneer SX1250. So I can always dig up the bass if I need to, and the highs too, to a certain extent. I recently purchased some the Gold Lion tubes, and I hooked them up to it, and it sounded really nice, but I don't know if it was $150 nice. Uh, so I returned them. I sent them back, and now I have some tongue sole tubes in there. These tongue sole tubes, they're warming up. They're sounding good. Compared to the Chinese stock tubes that were in there that I was very happy with, these tongue soles are a little darker, more bassier. So I like the bass. But I actually like the Chinese ones better, the brighter ones, because these I have a hard time getting the brightness. Because I like a sizzly high end, bright high end. And it's hard to get that with these tongue soles because they're just a dark sounding tube. Very warm, very bassy. So I tweaked this all the way up with these tongue soles, and I still have to come over here, which I hate to do. I usually leave this tone control off for the bass and the treble on the receivers. I try to use my Pioneer EQ for this. But if sometimes I flip this on, I have to adjust some highs on here too to add to it. So that's my backup setting, is everything on 0, and then I work from there just to add a little bit or take away from the equalizer. So I just received this Schiit Mani 2 in the mail today, and I hooked it up, and as you could see, let me turn it over. There are a lot of settings on here, different from the first one, the Schiit Mani. It's actually not as complicated as it looks, but then again it is. So I went with the default settings, and I think that's everything off, basically. And then I did some research online and found that maybe I could adjust certain things to make it sound a little better. I plugged it in. First thing I noticed was it was quieter. It was darker, not as bright as the Yaqin. Even with these tubes, these dark tubes. I had a hard time getting brightness out of it. The volume was a little lower. So what I did was the input, I turned it to high. And on the load, I put the two bottom switches to the right, which is on. And that seems to be the best settings for my MP200 cartridge, the Nagalka MP200 right there. So it makes it a lot louder, a little bit brighter. But what I did notice was even on the darker setting, actually more on the default darker setting, there was a hiss. I heard a hiss coming from the speakers, like a shh. And that's with the EQ on, it was even louder. But with the EQ off, I still heard it. And with this EQ as well, on or off. Usually this EQ, if the EQ, Pioneer EQ is set off, turned off, it bypassed, and I just use the EQ on the receiver, it's usually quiet, very quiet and filtered. That wasn't the case. It was very dark and hissy. Usually that hissy, it would be ear piercing with the highs being in your face. But no. So you know what? I'm happier with this guy, with the Yaqin, with these tubes or any tubes more than the, I'm actually very disappointed. I love the look I love how it's made in America. It's a beautiful, it's silver, it's just sleek, it looks nice. And I want to get the EQ with it too, that the Schiit EQ. I forgot what it's called, the Lodi or something, the Mini. Anyways, I was tossed up between the Schiit Mani and the i5 Zen. I was leaning much more towards the Schiit Mani. I like the name, I like the look, I like the color, I like it's built in America. I like how it gives you these extra options and filters and stuff. But I'm actually disappointed, to be honest with you. As much as I want to like it, I'm going to send it back, and I'm going to get those Gold Lion tubes again and just stick with this guy. I'm going to stick with this guy until I get the Project 2 box. I think it's the S2 it's called. I'm probably going to get that as my next phono preamp and stick with that. I like this one because it wasn't expensive. It was nice looking, and it's for moving coil. But then again, I'm probably never going to get moving coil. Some of the moving magnets are just as good and a lot less money. And with a moving coil cartridge, when that stylus goes, and they go fast, especially with the amount of music I listen to, you just threw away $1,000, $2,000. You got to buy a whole new damn cartridge. You can get it redone, but who knows how much that'll cost and if you can even do it. Then you got to go without it until it gets fixed. It's a waste. I got this MP200. I take off this cap right here when the stylus is bad, pop a new one in, $170. Done. Sounds great. Sounds good. So I'm going to return the Schiit Mani, and I'm not even going to look at an i5 Zen. I'm not even going to go down that route. I'm happy with this. Honestly, I'm getting more hiss and noise from the Schiit Mani than this guy. I've heard reviews that this guy gives a little bit of noise too, but no noise. It sounds great. I just gotta change out the tubes and put different tubes in. I want to get those Gold Lions back, and I guess I'll fork up the $150 for the Gold Lion tubes because it sounded really nice. I just didn't. There's a saying, you don't appreciate what you got till it's gone. Well, those Gold Lions, I mean, I guess they're worth it. I hope they last a while. If I get at least a year out of them, it's worth it. Okay. These Chinese tubes I had in here originally for like 4 years, 3 to 4 years, maybe more, and they still sound great. So, matter of fact, I'm going to take these tongue soles out and put those back in. But yeah, so unfortunately, I'm going to say goodbye to you. My buddy here is a Schiit Mani. I've tried, and for the price, it's amazing. It's an awesome deal, but I'm going to fork up the 150, return this for 200 back, and I'll get $50 back and get my tubes I want in this guy, and it'll sound good. So that's my review on the Schiit Mani 2 versus the Yaqin ms-23b. I'm going with the Yaqin, and what I like about the Yaqin also, it's a tube preamp, so it's not only sounds warmer and it has more depth, but you could change the tubes and make it a whole different sound anytime you want. I have 4 different sets of tubes, and it sounds different with every one. But this guy, this is good for maintenance. You don't have, there's no maintenance. You set it and forget it once you're happy with the settings. No tubes. You don't have to worry about them warping or burning out or warming up. It's just, you plug it in and go. And it sounds really good. It's just, I'm disappointed with that hiss. I figured the filters would filter all that out. But because it's so dark, I have to turn my trebles so high up that you get a loud hiss. And even with the treble not up, I still get the hiss. So I don't know if it's the unit or if it's just the way it is. Maybe it's the way the settings are. I tried the settings. I'm done. I'm going to, stick with my Yaqin. It's simple. Change out tubes. Piece of cake. So yes, that's the winner. I think I paid $350 for the Yaqin, and this was like 5 years ago. So I don't know how much it is now, but I'm happy. I'm happy with it. I thought I wasn't, but I am. So, and that's that. And then when I had the gold lions in there before, I did do a couple songs on my channel. I believe I put new tubes, so you can see that it was maybe 2 months ago. So I guess it was in February, March, January, February. So you could check out those. I don't know if you can notice a difference through here because I don't run it through a digital system. You're just getting pure analog from the phone. When I play records on here, you're just getting sound out of the phone from the speakers in the room. And I like that. It's pure analog. It's a nice sound. It's not all compressed and digitized. It's pure 100% crystal clear analog. Nice sound. Anything you look at on these channels here, you're going to get all run through a computer system and compressed and squeezed to shit, and you get it's all digitalized. I like analog, and and not only that, but this is pure analog in its tube. This is gotta be digital. It's gotta, it can't be pure analog. I think it's got digital parts in there. It's new, so yeah, that's my review.